the Deucecast Extra. We are live, as we are every Tuesday night, to talk about some television. Either Star Wars, Marvel, sometimes DC, soon Yellowstone, which I'm very excited about Yellowstone coming back. In fact, we will probably talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But first, going around the horn, I'm sure Earl will be here eventually. But Garrison, how has your week been, sir?
It's been good. I've had meetings for my final projects. I have to write a 30-page paper before I finish. Basically a mini thesis on my subject in college. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just delay and explain while we give Earl
please.
some time.
Yeah, please.
Writing a 30-page paper, it sounds daunting. It sounds terrible, but at the end of the day, this kind of thing you can write several papers within. So it all has to have a through line and the same subject, but you can write several different, like mine's on how radio has shaped American culture.
Oh, I like that.
First part of the paper could be...
you should interview Roth.
No, you should interview your dad over me.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'd prefer to interview my dad, but no offense.
Not taken.
But I think it'd be much easier to do.
Yes, exactly.
The beginnings of that stuff, but then there's FDR and his fireside chats, and then you get into how does it shape American culture when television's introduced and people are gathering around the television instead? What does radio do to pull in people? And then you get to the 80s and you get to talk radio and how does that shape American culture? And
that's cool.
So
that's cool. Brian wants to read your paper.
Wow.
I'm writing outlines for it, and I have to write a rough draft soon. So.
It sounds interesting, but I would not read it.
I would I might read it. Roth, I gotta say, Good Day for a Movie podcast just dropped their Goonies episode.
We did. I know.
I was a bit disappointed.
I haven't listened.
In the
85.
It's
what
that's
Sage
a high score.
Yeah, Sage doesn't like
60 something.
I don't think Sage likes movies.
I
know what
actually
he doesn't really like fun.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Let's see.
No, you're right. It ended up with, but the aggregate was 85. But I mean,
actually, I'm sorry. I gave it an 85. Tate gave it a 65. And Sage gave it a 73.
Oh, so it was Tate this time that gave the low score.
Unless I wrote that down wrong, which I very easily.
Well, it's usually Sage, so I mean, you could have written it down wrong, but maybe not. Maybe I thought Tate liked it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. Now that
it's interesting. So I mean, I know it was the first time that Tate had ever seen it. So he had what I would call a very similar reaction than like Pinky did when Pinky watched it several years back for the first time, and he was underwhelmed. So it sounded like Tate was a little underwhelmed as well.
I don't know if underwhelmed is the right word for Tate, because I don't know if he had expectations.
He was well.
What this podcast has constantly amazed me about is the Hoven's utter lack of knowledge of like 80s pop culture.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you almost have to have a parent who is very into 80s movies to walk you through that process, because you're not going to find it on your own. Yeah.
The only reason that I know so much stuff about like 80s movies, I don't even know that much, is the Deucecast and like Techno Retro Dads and Geek Out Loud.
Yeah.
And like, so when I like really got into all that stuff, that's when I was like, oh, let's go watch all these 80s movies. And
my parents showed me a lot of them.
Yeah, I know your dad probably did. In hindsight, my dad actually wasn't real into movies, and so it was more like my friend group at the time when I was like in middle school. We all like were stupid young kids that thought we were cinephiles. And so we were all obsessed with like Lucas and Spielberg and Scorsese, and so we were watching
really
stuff,
easy era to do that in,
like pretending we were cinephiles, even though we didn't have any idea what we, And I had a cousin.
What I'm doing right now.
I had an older cousin who I didn't live near, but he would, whenever we would like get together, like at a family reunion or something, he'd recommend a bunch of movies
Mhm.
for me to watch. So I had influence outside of my dad as well too, I guess. But I don't know. But yeah, it is always interesting. Like Tate just seems clueless about all of it.
Oh yeah,
He's just like, he's
yeah.
like, I don't
It's
know the 80s. I don't know movies
yeah,
from the
it
80s.
really is crazy. And like I grew up like my dad like only watched like westerns and like bad action,
Yeah.
and so like I'm super familiar with like every John Wayne movie.
Mm.
He wasn't as much of a Clint Eastwood guy. Like John Wayne is like his guy, and so
This is Brian had a very similar experience to like Dave talks about this a lot, like being a latchkey kid and watching a ton of HBO and Cinemax stuff. Like Dave talked about that as well quite a bit. Oh yeah, and I forgot about this, Brian, that his dad was an actor. Yeah,
Giancarlo.
no, no, not Giancarlo. There is a couple movies, and Brian can put them in the chat if he wants to. That you would be able to find his dad in. I don't know if he
That's
ever had
cool.
speaking lines, but yeah, he's been in some stuff.
That's really
Like Strategic Air Command or something.
maybe I don't know. So yeah, maybe Earl isn't coming tonight. I don't. This is odd for him to be this late. I don't know if he remembers what day it is. He's had a rough. I'll tell you this. Earl had a rough day today. He had a flat tire on a major highway here in town, and he. I don't know if I would do this, but he tried to get to work anyways, and so he tore his car up even more. I
Did
think
he tear the rims up? I mean,
I don't know.
you don't want to ride on that. That's pretty bad.
And then like to make matters worse, he apparently a portion of his tire hit someone behind him. And so that person pulled over and started yelling at Earl and like telling him that you messed my car up with your tire, and wasn't a good morning for Earl.
Man, that's tough. I would.
So he may not make it tonight, as a matter of fact. So if just be thinking about Earl this evening, if you would. He's had a rough day. I will say that for dinner, I had to honor, since apparently it's the end of the road for the McRib. So I had to honor the McRib, and I had a McRib for dinner tonight. If you've never had one,
I've never had one.
It's quite choice.
But it's got like
highly
pickles on it and
recommended.
stuff, so I don't really. Yeah.
Oh, I love pickles, but
it's got pickles. It's got
disgusting
onion.
barbecue sauce. Disgusting
It's
barbecue
got the
sauce.
best barbecue sauce ever.
It's awful, and the meat is like chewy, and it's not. It's not good. I don't even like the bread.
So good. I think this is probably just a marketing ploy, but they claim this is the last run.
Anytime something's the last ever, they'll bring it back.
What's their tagline? Order a McRib like it's your last.
Like it's your last.
Enjoy a McRib like it's your last. So they're not saying it is.
They've threatened that in the past
like
before.
Yeah.
And the best thing about a McRib when you have like a full beard is the barbecue sauce gets all over your beard. You have flavors for days. I mean, it's the best. It's the best.
No, thank you.
They serve the McRib on Narquito. Okay, this means Brian wants us to start talking about Andor. So let's do it.
Is that first up?
Yeah, we might as well.
Okay.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you want to do Tales of Jedi first, or
I usually save the best for last, but it is your show.
I mean, usually I'd leave it up to. I guess Brian's wanting us to talk Andor first, so let's do that. Let's talk Andor first. A couple of notes. I believe this is the beginning of a 2-part arc or a 3-part arc. So this is.
We're
I thought
ending
there
on
was
a
another
2-part arc.
I thought there was another one-off episode though at some point. I don't know. Maybe
I don't think so, because I think it went 3.
Okay,
1,
that makes sense. Okay,
3, 2.
That's fair. So, kind of interesting as far as the director, Toby Haynes, I believe is the gentleman's name. A British director, directed several episodes of Sherlock Holmes, several episodes of Doctor Who, and
Sherlock.
Oh, is it just Sherlock? I'm sorry. Yeah. I never watched it, so I'm sorry. And then also, of course, did I say Black Mirror yet? Black Mirror. Because they all do. And then Bo Williamson, and I have to give a shout out to Rhett for this, and I'll give props to Rhett because I downplayed this dude totally. But apparently this is the guy that was the showrunner to, I guess what you would say was the big show that kind of kicked off Netflix in a way, House of Cards. I mean, I think that was really like a big deal when that show first came out. I mean, that was Kevin Spacey before all his troubles.
Well,
So
technically, the troubles had already happened just before we knew.
before they were revealed. And he, to be honest, at least in the civil case, he was exonerated of whatever.
On the
so
one that the
to
kid
be fair.
died in?
What now?
Was that the one where the kid
No.
died?
No. This was the one where an actor that is on Star Trek Discovery was accusing Mr. Spacey of.
Because one of his accusers died in like a car accident or whatever.
I mean, who knows how that could have happened?
Yeah, exactly. The guy was in House of Cards.
House of Cards.
He got Clinton.
He got allegedly. Let us say allegedly.
Well, I mean, the Underwood character from that show. I mean,
Frank Underwood was a scuzzy dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all that to say that Bo Williamson wrote this episode. He is the sole screenwriter of this episode.
It's like Bo Willman.
Williman, sorry.
Yeah.
Williman. Anyways, big deal, I guess. I mean, he is Oscar nominated. He directed wrote a very popular show and was the showrunner. So
the
it's
Ides
good.
of March.
Ides of March
and
is a very good
Sweet
film.
Queen of Scots.
Yeah, Ides of March, very good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah,
So,
I saw this when it came out on a date, and it was a weird double feature. And I can't remember what the other movie was. Was Clooney in another movie that year that came out around the same time? Do you remember?
Probably.
In 2011? Because I think
he
it was
was
like
in
a
The
back-to-back
Descendants.
Clooney thing.
Was that 2011? I don't know. I can't remember.
Maybe it was.
May have been earlier. I'm not sure.
Descendants was 2011.
So I don't really remember.
Well, there you go.
Ides of March.
So I got it right.
That may have been what it was, but
Yeah.
it was not a. Don't go.
That was
to
the
a
one he
two-movie
was
back-to-back
nominated.
date.
The Descendants he was nominated for. But Ides of March, I don't think he was. Anyways, let's dive in to Narkina 5. Narkina, however you want to say it. The prison episode, which there was a lot of speculation that we would not see Andor in a prison, that he was going to escape before he even got there. Well,
because there was a flashback.
Yes, because it was.
Well, they revealed that in this episode, guys. Did you miss the clues?
Flashback. Yeah. So, man, this is a pretty hardcore prison. In a low key way, though. Like, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you're not gonna, get shocked. Basically,
I mean, isn't that technically the case for everyone else in society in this world? If you do what you're supposed to do, you're
in this society. Yes. In the fictional world of Andor, yes, that's correct. Yeah, I would say that. But it was interesting. The whole shocking thing was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
Nothing like a bunch of bare feet.
A lot of bare feet.
Quentin. We should have gotten Quentin Tarantino to direct this.
Oh yeah, he does have a thing for bare feet, doesn't he?
Yes.
And apparently the guy in House of Dragon.
Yes.
As well.
Laris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laris and Tarantino could have teamed up for.
Yes.
Laris probably wrote this one, actually.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility for sure. So what any takeaways? Now, I have to ask, because over the last couple of weeks, obviously, I've been flip-flopping quite a bit. I will be the first to admit that. You guys have been underwhelmed with this show, but you won't say it.
What?
I feel like each week you guys kind of like low key.
Okay. Just because I don't love it as much as you do does not mean I'm not enjoying it.
Okay, so you're enjoying.
In fact, I've enjoyed it a lot more since the first arc. I think the first arc I was more let down than any other arc. But
Okay.
That was the one I was more like, the third episode it picks up.
Okay.
But since then, I mean, I've been pretty on board. I'm just waiting for things to pick up again, and I feel like this episode did kind of for me. I enjoyed the setup in the prison and the crew that he's clearly going to assemble in this prison and give information to that he's not given yet, which is a little frustrating and probably caused a suicide.
Probably.
Was it a suicide or was it a sleepwalk? Because that kind of scared me when he's like,
"Yeah,
hopefully don't sleepwalk."
I wonder if it was a sleepwalk. Yeah, because they alluded to that. I mean, they did it like a foreshadowing thing. Don't step over here, and then the guy happens to step over there. I mean,
the thing that bothered me about that scene was like they telling him to get in his room, and Andor's just like standing there, and it's like,
Right.
dude,
Right.
No sense of urgency.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Anyway.
fair. It's fair.
I
Are you guys are you anticipating next week's episode every time you watch it?
not really.
Not
This
really.
to
Okay.
me.
I watch it every Tuesday, right before the show.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
wait that long? Okay.
I do.
Interesting.
Wow. No, usually
Not
I'll
so
watch it
surprising, but-
Wednesday night if I remember.
Yeah, I think I usually
or maybe
do,
it'll be like a Thursday. But I've liked the show. I just don't think it's kind of running into a problem for me where there's so many people that, and Michael, I don't think you fall into this because you watch enough of like the other shows and like higher class like shows like Succession and that stuff.
Well,
but when
okay,
people
that's
like,
fair.
there's a lot of people that I see on the internet that are like, this is the greatest show ever invented, and it's the first time a show like this has ever happened. And
That's
I'm
like Rhett. That's
No, it's not.
exactly how
Wait.
Rhett reacts.
Oh, you're talking about Andor. It is the greatest show ever
Yes.
invented.
Yeah, and Earl. Rhett and
Yes.
Earl.
It's the
Yeah.
wild strawberries of Star Wars.
The wild strawberries.
It is, in a way. Yes.
and like I really do like it, but
that's
like
good.
it's-
That's good, Garrison.
it
by the
is
way.
very slow. It is very slow, and that's
It's not
okay.
slow.
It is.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not saying slow is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay,
saying
that's
that's
fair. Right.
that's just the type of storytelling they're doing, and it's I think for some Star Wars fans that takes a lot to get used to, and for watching Star Wars
Oh,
in
yeah,
this
'cause it is
way,
very
it definitely is
different.
taking me a little bit to get used to each episode. I'm like, okay, we're still going to
Yeah.
do one of those episodes.
And that is fair because it is certainly a different way of storytelling that hasn't really been done in the Star Wars universe.
Mhm.
Well,
It's more John Le Carre type
Yeah,
spy
that's true.
intrigue.
yeah,
That's true.
and I agree, and
Occupied
it's got the pacing of that as well, which
Yeah.
is not
Mhm.
necessarily a bad thing. You just have to get used to that
Mhm.
kind of thing
Yeah.
in Star Wars. I mean, look, the Star Wars universe was built off of serials and fast
right.
paced
Mhm.
That's right.
adventures week to week, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Andor's not really that, and so that's
That's fair.
maybe the most deviation we've gotten from that in Star Wars, because even
I think no
even
doubt.
Rogue One is an adventure film, really.
Look, I mean, look, I'm
Hey,
with
Fett. Yes,
I'm with
Fett.
Fett. I'm with
I
Fett on
agree.
that.
I try
Yeah.
my best to do
I
that, but
100%,
it's
yeah.
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that gets stuck in my mind when like I'm watching the new episode. I'm like, oh god, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, how he stepped on that floor with his bare feet was the best shot in cinematic history.
Well, in
Dude,
all
that
honesty,
shot was amazing.
Oh, come on. I think in all honesty, and we may have been talking about this during the pre-show, I think that the script is probably better than the direction, kind of. I mean,
I would agree.
think
That's
Yeah,
I don't think
I
I think the acting is awesome. I
The
think there's
acting
some
is
awesome
phenomenal.
The acting's
performances
amazing,
up
yeah.
and down.
I was saying behind the scenes. What I
Yeah,
basically meant
yeah.
by that was just that there's not a lot of technical
It's not
camera
flash.
work or
Yeah,
anything that
exactly.
I'm like, whoa.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
talk-
It's, it's fine. It's good TV work.
Mhm,
But the script writing is the strength of this show so far.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
script and the acting. I mean,
Yeah.
I was very
And the
surprised
design.
because I generally pay attention to like spoilers. I had no idea Andy Serkis was going to be in this series.
Oh, I
They
didn't
kept
either.
that. Oh, you knew?
Yeah.
I didn't know either.
Well,
I
you
didn't know.
keep your level of like spoilers is far beyond mine. Like I'm surface level. You're like
Yeah, yeah,
deep
yeah.
state.
Deep state.
You're like
dark web type.
you're dark
apparently.
web.
Ryfin is part of
spoiler.
like MCU Anon and Star Wars Anon.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. He
But,
knows like everything. Like I'll send some link to Ryfin and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I knew that like a month ago, dude. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "All right."
It was in the Deucecast episode, the worst villains or whatever it was, most inept
Yeah.
villains, and you were talking about Andy Serkis, and you're like, man, it really sucks that he's not going to be able to be in Star Wars again. And then I think it was like the next week, I'm like,
Oh, did I say
crap,
that?
Yes.
Oh,
Like
wow.
this was his
I
one shot at Star
manifested him
Wars.
being in
So
Star
I'm
Wars.
impressed.
No, I
It's
feel
you,
like you had
Michael.
to have known. I was listening to that and I was like, oh, he knows that he's an Andor.
No,
No,
I didn't know.
Oh.
I had no idea.
no, I did not know.
Oh,
no.
in my head, I guess I imagined that they were speaking because of that.
No.
But I'm a boomer, so I didn't expect
No,
to.
yeah, Earl doesn't pay attention unless I
Okay,
tell
boomer.
Earl something. He
Right.
doesn't know what's going on. I try and inform Earl as best I can, but I
I
mean,
call Michael with every medical decision.
even sometimes
I-
I get my
actually-
news from Garrison, and then no.
I try not to send spoilers to people. If I
No, that's fair.
I don't like to seek them out, but if I see them, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yes, Brian Esposito is correct.
Oh, what did Esposito say? Let me see.
I just like his absolute terror.
Oh yeah. He was good. I mean, yeah. No,
that terrible idea. Just that prison. Well, you guys, I don't want to jump ahead. If you guys,
no, we haven't. We're just in.
Are we doing Andor first or Tales of the Jedi?
We're doing Andor first.
We're doing Andor first. Yeah.
I want to make sure.
No, we're not going to like break down every single thing that happened in the episode. But we are talking about most.
Why not?
Then he drank from the hose. He ate food from the hose.
The tasteless
slurm,
the flavorless food,
the flavor. And if you win the game, you get flavor.
That was intriguing. I love that concept.
If you take second and third, you get taste.
Yeah, I love that concept.
And now, you get
what type of taste?
The floor.
Do you get a savory taste or a sweet taste?
I assume that like what they're doing right now has no flavor or taste. Like it's like literally no sensation, and it's just keeping you alive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the cockroach brick in Snowpiercer.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it's like. It's protein only.
Just eat it.
You just eat it without
eat it.
But you can eat as much of it as you want. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. If you get the taste, it's Ronto wrap flavored. It's just like the flavor packet in the ramen noodles.
Oh.
You just add the flavor packet.
Wow.
I want the Ronto wrap flavor.
Oh man. So that prison. So I was saying somewhere, a lazier show would not have had the detail of just every aspect of that prison was thought out well, as far as here's where the food is, where you eat. Here's this process of. Even down to the things they were developing, there were, the guys were figuring out those processes.
And I do want to give props. There were a couple of intentional angles that they shot close-ups at with Andor that did really make you feel isolated and constricted in that prison. So there was some, at least, thought process as far as shooting the show in a certain way. Just to make, especially when they were in the hallway for the very first time, they did this close up on Andor, and it's not quite a Dutch angle, but it was an angle like to the side of his face that just made you feel like you're in the prison with him, because it's just like really
Mikey, you're triggering Roth. He doesn't want to hear about your angles and your
no. I do. He's not saying this is the first time this angle has ever been done.
No, I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm not saying, oh, this is the best I've never seen.
They got some flair. They got some flair.
Yes, I'm happy with flair. I kind of want some more flair.
There were some good choices made as far as just to make the viewer kind of feel like what Andor was feeling, because he was very disoriented, obviously. I mean, it was all very disorienting to him, especially when he's trying to learn what these guys are building, which who knows, it could be part of a TIE fighter, could be part of a Star Destroyer.
It's a part of some weapon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was K2 droids, but then when they picked it up and set it down, I was like, oh, that's not a K2 droid.
It looks like an engine chassis or something, like some kind of battery.
Would be ironic if it was the beam for the Death Star, or, like parts for that kind of thing,
Maybe. Could be. We're kind of getting to, what is it, 5 BBY 5 right now?
That's right. Yeah. So very well could be.
Let's talk about what's his name, Cyril Karn.
Cyril was in this episode.
He gets called in by Dedra.
Yes.
Deirdre, I think. Yeah.
Deirdre Mero.
Yeah.
And yes.
I still say that there's a romance brewing there. I think that
I don't
she's
think
into
either
him.
of them
before.
Yes, I've said that since the
I think I
beginning
tried to block that out of my memory.
I've said that from the beginning. That
those two, like
Dedra and Cyril, they're going to
if
be
you were
an
to say
evil
male
evil
asexual
couple.
and female asexual, those may be the pictures.
I think that there's a romance brewing. I just feel like something's going on there.
Mikey really wants a romance in this show.
I think that she
we do
digs
need
him.
romance in Star Wars.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think she digs him. I think she appreciates. I think she appreciates his attention to detail, and she kind of.
I think she dismissed him. She took his information.
No,
didn't she?
No.
Go back and watch it again, Michael.
No, there was. She smirked. Didn't she even? Wasn't there even like a little smirk Wasn't there just like her lip curled a little bit like the Grinch?
You know,
I
Like
don't
she
think you were
smirked a
supposed to
little.
take
She
that
was
in
just
a.
happy to get the information.
Yeah, I
She was
don't think you were
just
supposed to take that in a
No.
romantic sense.
I'm
Mike.
telling you, I feel something's coming.
This is gonna be
this-
Michael's flashback.
This is gonna... I just have this
Yeah.
feeling those two could end up in a romance of some
Oh,
kind.
sorry, guys. You all saw that they said it was a flashback this week, right? You know.
No,
that's what
there's-
they
yeah, the
said.
prison
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
place in 6 BPY.
Yeah.
No flashback. Sorry.
No flashbacks.
Yeah.
So, but she gets the information and takes it to the council, and we know
Right.
now we have Cassian Andor's name,
Mm-hmm.
although that's
They've
not
got
what he's called. He's what's
An
he
old
called?
picture.
Grief Karga now, or Keith Garga,
Keith
or
Geargo. Keith Geargo.
Keith Geargo.
Yeah.
I'm Keith. No, I am Keith. I was
And
just a tourist. I was a
Wait.
tourist.
My favorite
sorry.
moment is when he says my name. His name's Keith, and everyone at the table's just like, "What?"
Yeah, they were like, "That's a made-up name." There's
Yeah, like
there-
that had to be what their thought process was. At
yeah,
that,
that
moment.
must not be a very
It was
common
either that's
name.
made up or we really don't care, dude. Just do your
I
part.
think
Yeah,
they didn't do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
man.
Keith, just do your part.
I'm hoping it
Um,
was what? That's a stupid name.
Yeah, a couple of out of universe cameo. The cameo of the old guy was from Batman. I liked that. Batman '89, the super old guy that was part of the team. That was
Oh.
cool. Yeah. So
What?
remember in Batman '89 at the beginning of the movie where Batman's holding that guy up and he says,
Oh yeah,
"Who
yeah,
are
yeah.
you?" It's that guy. That's the actor. So that was.
But
a
he
cool
was
little
much
cameo.
younger then.
Well, sure. I mean, obviously, it was 20-something years ago.
And then we have a
No, more
Rogue
than that.
One, a Rogue One cameo.
And then Melchi, yeah,
Melchi.
Melchi was,
Melchi.
yeah, he was in there. He was part of the group of people that ended up going to. Oh, I can't
Request
remember.
for spectrum surveillance and a code.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I don't
Melchi?
know.
Melchi,
Who's that?
yeah, Melchi. Okay, wait a minute. What's going on? What did Brian say?
Well, he's
Oh,
loving Ded Romero because she's like, man,
Yeah.
she is
Oh, I guess I kind of remember this.
she
guy.
is narrowing the hunt.
Well, to be fair, Roth, I mean, in Rogue One, he was just a background character. He may have had a few lines, but I think he was really just mostly a background character.
He only had one scene, right? Didn't she just? Wasn't he on the prison
I thought
ship
he.
with her?
I thought. Wait, no,
Or
no, no.
did he
No,
become
in Rogue One, he was
In
one
Rogue
of the
One.
like landing.
He was
part of
one
the
of the
Oh, he
landing
was one of the
parties.
army guys.
Yeah, he was one of the
Yeah.
army guys.
Oh,
He-
sorry.
So yeah, I mean that.
Spoiler
but,
alert.
but that does Scarface. Yes, that's the old guy. That's kind of the old guy that was in Batman '89. He's got all the kind of.
Fed
scars
Matic
on his
knows.
face.
He always knows. He's got
Well,
the facts.
I mean,
I
a
thought
lot
you were
of
gonna say he
people know.
played the penguin because he's got kind of a.
No.
No, I know it's.
He
Oh,
doesn't-
Scarif.
Black Bile.
I thought you were referring. No, I really because that dude does have a messed up face. So I thought he was really
I don't think he
referring to
has
the old
scars.
guy.
Say
So,
hello
yeah.
to my little friend.
Yeah, Scarif.
He's doing cocaine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brian.
Well, he
I'm
may be
sure-
right. He may be
Oh,
I'm
right.
sure that's happening.
You know,
Yeah,
He's
not
gonna-
not
he kinda
everybody
gave
on that
me
team.
old guy and Squid
Yeah.
Game vibes.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Not gonna lie.
If you
This
have
is kinda
enough
Squid
of
Game-ish.
them commit mutiny, you can create like a bridge of bodies to crawl across.
Just,
know.
wow. Garrison just wants
Look.
to kill a bunch of people.
You think that's? I mean, look, this is a dark time. I mean,
This is
come
a
on.
dark time. That's
Dark
true.
times.
That could happen. That could definitely happen.
If only they
there's-
could get to those rubber shoes.
There's-
Andor was noticing them. He was checking them like where they
Yeah,
are.
yeah, the ones that the guards have.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
There's
gonna.
going to be a
they're-
prison break.
They're
I'm
soon.
probably
sure,
gonna
yeah.
get those shoes. Yeah.
I would
What were
venture
those
to
guys
say-
communicating across the
Yeah, that was interesting. There was some
You're
communication.
supposed to
with-
ask that.
Yeah, that was. That
we
was
are supposed to
interesting.
ask that.
Yeah.
Garrison
now?
knows.
We're supposed to ask that.
Yes.
Like
What
the
are they-
show
why
wants
do
you
they
to ask
communicate?
that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were doing sign language in Arabish.
Mm.
No, I don't know. I can't back that up.
Arabic.
I bet
sign
somebody was paid a
language.
lot of money to create that.
Yes.
That's right. They hired a consultant that came on and
Yeah.
that-
Yes, deaf people watching the show are like, "What the heck? What's going on? What is that? What are they doing?"
Well, didn't that guy the Coda guy consult on? Didn't he create the sign language for the Tusken
yes,
Raiders.
for Mando. I think
Yeah,
so.
for
I think
Mando.
that's right.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, the
Oh,
guy
yeah,
that
yeah,
won,
yeah.
the guy that won the Oscar for Coda.
Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, what is his name?
So maybe he's back. Maybe he's consulting some more sign language. Could be him for sure.
The prison was awesome, but don't forget we had a Mon Mothma scene. We had a big
Kotzer.
scene.
Troy Kotzer, yes.
Oh, Troy Kotzer.
Yeah. Okay, so Mon Mothma though,
she just found out she wasn't going to get her money, right? Was that
why does the daughter always like come around and act smug? I mean, that's I think the second time.
They're both going to die, aren't they?
Did anyone feel like Mon Mothma's scenes in this episode felt pretty similar to last week's?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very strange. It's like,
well, you found out that she wasn't going to get her money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
not
that it
in
was
the
harder.
way that
It's going to be harder too.
It's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the sole purpose of that particular, and to show the smug daughter again. So her like coming around.
Her daughter was just awkward, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, but yeah.
So can I leave? Or whatever?
Yeah,
no,
she's like, can I leave again, Mom? Why do you always bring me to these things? Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna die, but they're certainly obviously not around.
Well, they could be spies. They could be
I think her husband's gonna turn her in.
Yeah.
Or try to, or something.
Something's well.
They drink the squiggly things from their planet, so they.
He's definitely not to be trusted.
These worms into their drink.
Yes, that was gross.
I just watched like a recap of it, and the girl was like,
"Yeah,
what is that? Why do y'all drink that or something?" That's one of the daughters.
The daughter.
She's not impressed by it, and neither is Mon Mothma at this point.
So. No, she's not. She's
moved
on.
She's not doing a very good job of like disguising into the background because anybody, like all those people that she was with, like to drink.
She's a senator,
and when people like to drink, they notice when you're not drinking, and they're like, "What are you doing? Come on, they're all senators too."
Yeah,
you know, she's got to pick up her espionage game.
She's new to this, man. I mean, this is all new to her.
All she has to do is pop out her challenge coin, and
she's not Luthen.
Tell people that
her challenge coin. Yes,
she's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, she's no Luthen at all. I mean, she's learning all of this. I mean, most of like what we've seen of her, especially when she's dealing with Luthen, is shock. Like, I can't believe you did that, or so she hasn't quite like fully committed to this whole thing. So there's going to be something that makes her fully commit, I think. And it may be her husband, like you said, maybe her husband tries to turn her in or something. Yeah.
What's the nickname they're giving Luthen? It's like Axiom or something. Remember they said there's another character. I think they called him Axiom or Axiom.
Did they call him Fulcrum?
No, but it's like that. I mean,
it's like that.
It's like they said, and there's another character who's the connection to Andor. This was going back. I'm sorry, but I just remembered.
Oh, yeah.
Brian, I don't think we see that. We're not going to see that in the show unless.
Okay, Brian says it's Axis.
Axis. Okay, that's right. Axis.
And that's Axis. Deidre called him that, right?
I think so.
Yeah. When
because the alarm was like, well, this Axis is.
Because
actually, Yulor was kind of bored with all of her stuff. He was like, "I'm listening" or something. He was just like,
"Yeah, he was." Yeah, he's not impressed, I don't think. But I mean, her direct supervisor still on her side, so that's all that matters. She's still getting like all the support that she needs. I mean, to do her
Partagaz. Partagaz is his name.
Partagaz. Yeah.
Partagaz.
So obviously a lot of THX 1138 vibes with the prison, aesthetically speaking. There's even a scene. There's even a specific scene.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, but the whole point of the THX 1138 prison, I mean,
it's different.
No. This is just
building.
An homage.
They're building their oppressors in the THX 1138.
Right. This is just an homage.
Is that not what they're doing here? They're building stuff for the Empire.
Yeah. But they're literally building the police robots in THX 1138.
Buy more.
See, maybe it should have been a K2 droid then.
Yeah.
Maybe it still is.
Ooh, yeah. Why did they should have gone that route? That would have been a much more better homage if they were building K2SO droid or KX droids. I'm sorry, KX.
Oh, they're called KX droids. I was calling them K2 droids.
Well, in the flashback scene from the last episode, they called it a KX droid. I'm trying to help
Gotcha.
you out, Ryfin.
Flashback scene.
When they were on the
Miami.
And Niamos.
Oh, sorry.
I
You
like
guys
to
even
call it
Andor,
the
bro?
Jimmy Buffett planet.
Yeah.
Basically what
I was
it
waiting for the Jurassic World scene where he runs by with his margarita maker.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Oh my goodness, that's good. So
We also Saw.
it's me.
Oh yeah, Saw
That I
and
was
Luthen.
more surprised
We
by
jumped.
this week other than what's his name?
Huh?
You were more surprised by what?
I was more
Saw
surprised by
than
seeing Saw
Circus.
than
Well,
seeing Andy Serkis.
let's
this
not
week.
jump
Oh.
immediately to Saw yet, though, because there was the thing where Luthen was
Fine.
where Bix was trying to contact Luthen, and then
Yes.
Kalea. What do you think about Kalea? There's something about her that seems
Who the hell's
interesting.
Leia?
Luthen's right hand. Luthen's
The
right hand.
lady, the
Oh,
lady he's
okay.
working with.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Kalea.
She is.
There's
God,
too many
there's
names here. Come
Way
on.
too many names in this thing.
You guys got to
I
get
think-
dude.
I
You
think
even Andor, bro.
Yeah, do you even?
I'm
This
trying.
is appointment television.
This episode had a big cast, and it's really hard to slide through all the names.
I think Kalea is probably more ruthless than even Luthen is. She
Yeah, she's
has
like,
a,
shut
I
it
agree
down.
with that.
she
Shut
has
that
a
down.
vibe about her. I mean, that I feel like she's pretty hardcore.
Mhm.
But you got to be, man. I mean, you've
she
got to be willing.
almost reminds me of Andor at the beginning of Rogue One. Like she is the type
Right.
of person
She
who
is.
would absolutely
Back.
shoot her friend because he's got a
Ruthless,
hurt
yeah.
shoulder
Yeah.
and can't climb the
100%.
wall.
Well, and she even said as much in the last episode where she's like, "Look, I mean, these people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
They know the risk. I mean, look,
Mhm.
you know, you've got to find." And yeah, I mean, Bix goes to.
That dude, whatever that big guy is.
Yeah.
She goes back to that planet though, looking for Andor.
No, Vel does.
Vel, I'm sorry, Vel.
Who
does.
Andor is now?
No, Bix is already on. Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Vel. See, there's too many characters. Vel goes back to.
And Bix starts running. Oh, I know they captured one of the dude.
The other guy.
See that
at
guy?
the
I don't know
shop.
his name. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
And,
too
like,
many characters.
I can't figure out who owns that shop
Poor
because
Garrison.
at first I thought it was Bix who owns it, but
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true. Well, I thought.
I do know
because she
Bix.
was like, I need to go back and.
Or like, was it Bix's
thought Tim owned
dad's
it.
shop? No, I think it like
know.
I thought it was like a Bix's like family shop, and like
Oh,
maybe the guy that they captured off the bat was
No.
like the manager of it. Maybe.
oh, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
was the manager. Well, doesn't Bix travel though to that guy's shop and say, I need to?
No,
do
because
the-
that's the shop she's been working at. That's where like Andor
Mhm.
met her and stuff like that.
That's where
and did
Tim
the-
was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Tim
Yeah.
turned
There are those who call me
Andor in
Tim.
there with two M's.
Kalia,
Make it Star Wars.
Kalia. Ah, I see what you did there. Yeah,
Kalea. Yeah. I saw
Kalea. Yeah,
that.
it's
you know,
true.
it's
She kind of looks like Leia a little bit.
a little.
Mm.
I don't know.
She's a woman of many faces. No, I'm sorry, different person. Vel
Mm.
is a woman of many faces.
Vel.
And Vel
Screwed
ends up
that
on the
joke up.
planet, right? She's on.
Yes, with Senta.
What's it called? Ferrix.
Oh yeah, that was weird that Senta was there. I didn't know.
Just out of the
I
blue,
didn't-
she's back.
Well, I didn't gather that that's what her assignment was. I mean, Kalea was like she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, and I guess that's to
Mhm.
go also
Well,
look for. Andor.
I don't think at that time Senta
That was a flashback, Michael. Flashback.
No, I think what she meant is Senta is like keeping low, not
Yeah.
contacting anybody until they're contacted. I think that's what that was in reference to when Vel was talking to
That's true.
Luthen's dude. And then I think they probably made contact with her and said, hey, you have to go kill Andor because we don't think Vel will. Is my guess on that, my read on that.
Yeah. Well, and then poor Vel was still trying to like get Senta to hang around and be her girl.
She's like,
but Senta's like, we've got too much work to do.
Mhm.
Sorry, this is done. We're done here. We've got too
The
much.
cause comes
The
first.
cause
The
comes
cause
first.
first.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Them's the breaks.
Mhm.
Yeah, Senta,
Mhm.
Sartha,
Mhm.
Vel. These are
Mhm.
very, very,
Mhm.
very fantasy names to me.
Bix.
I need to start writing these down and like committing them to memory.
Tim is
They're
the
not-
only normal name. but it's not normal
Yeah.
for Star Wars. But it's just
It's
like
TIMM, sir.
Look, I love that there was a dude named Ham in the prison. I was like, yes.
Ham.
I mean, look, there's a character named Ham in Mistborn as well, which I read recently. And so I was like, oh, great.
Maybe
Do you think
this writer
Ham
was a
and
fan.
Jack Porkins are related?
Oh, I see what you did there.
It's a possibility. That's a strong possibility.
Y'all are making me hungry.
I know, right?
And
Well, no,
made me hungry.
You missed it, Earl. I had a McRib earlier, so I'm not hungry.
Oh wow.
I am.
Well, I just ate a McGarbage, whatever it was. A quarter pounder that was like,
dude, you were at McDonald's and you didn't get the McRib?
Good choice.
no, dude, I'm not gonna eat a McRib.
You've
What
got
is that,
to
like
say-
some
They're
process?
disgusting.
You've got to. It's all processed, Earl.
I know.
You've got to say goodbye to the McRib. You've got to.
I have after the first time I tried it. I said, "Yep, I'm
You said
going to
goodbye
say
forever.
goodbye."
You're like, it's prison food. Oh man,
This meat paste and super sugar barbecue sauce.
So
Are we at Saw at this point? I don't.
Let's do Saw. Let's go to Saw.
Well, I do want to ask one question about Andor's buy-in to this prison. I mean, he
Okay.
seems like he's pretty bought into this whole deal. I don't know if
He's studying it. He's studying.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that he's playing the character of a prisoner well, in the sense that
You got
he's
to,
doing
dude.
everything
You'll get
that he's
fried.
supposed to. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have thought that he would have pushed back a little bit, or at least we would have seen some.
Oh, there's gonna be some pushing back.
Yeah,
maybe
there's
this coming episode.
there's going to be
probably have
information
He's
Well,
shared
studying. He's
no, no, no,
studying.
no.
prisoners.
Three
Maybe
episode
he's
arc. This
studying.
coming episode is going to be setting up the pushback, and then in the
Maybe
2
so.
episodes from now,
This-
it will be the pushback.
This next episode, he'll be given information to the prisoners that he thinks he can trust.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
And he'll have a plan, and they'll have discovered
Yeah,
something.
he's definitely
almost-
studying what's
He
happening.
almost seemed like he was in shock the whole time. Like,
Oh
he
yeah,
didn't,
no,
like,
he definitely
yeah.
was.
did he
Yeah.
have a line this episode? You know what I mean? Like he just kind of like
yeah,
had
they
the
asked him.
blank look on his face. Besides
they
like just
talked-
answering questions.
There was
Yeah,
a moment when they said something to him like, "Hey, did you hear we're having longer sentences because of that thing that happened on Aldani?" And and the guy was like, "You don't know anything about that." And he's like,
Oh
Aldani.
yeah, and
He's like,
"No,
Aldani." He goes, "I don't know anything." You know, he kind of
Aldani?
sloughed
I
it
do
off.
not know about that.
I know.
Well, yeah. See, this is kind of at least the vibe they were trying to portray, is that maybe he had succumbed to the idea.
Well,
that
it
he
could
was gonna-
be. It could be.
I don't
don't
think
think
he's
so.
succumbed to the idea. I think he's studying
Maybe.
what's going on around
I
him.
think he's still like, how am I in prison? I was just a tourist.
I know, right?
Literally wasn't doing
I'm just
anything.
a tourist.
And then he gets put into this prison that is like, how do I even
It's
escape from
ruthless.
This isn't like a normal prison.
It's an intense prison out in the middle of an ocean. I mean, yeah.
How do you get away? Even if you get off of it, you're still like, wow, it's intense.
So Saw in this episode was interesting. He did not want to play ball at all because of one dude he didn't like or something. Like Luthen dropped this guy's name and Saw's like, I'm not working with that scumbag or whatever.
Sounds like Saw Gerrera.
It's but
I will not work with him.
I loved that scene
I will not.
with those
Yeah.
two guys together.
That
Oh,
must
no.
have been what is his name? The guy who
The
plays Luthen.
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård, yeah.
Bill Skarsgård.
No,
or whatever.
no. Stellan.
Stellan. That must have been what he filmed because he went on the radio almost over a year ago and was
okay.
like, "Oh, I shot a scene with Forrest Whitaker," and this is before we knew Forrest Whitaker was in the show.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He went on
That
some
was
like
so long
Swedish
ago, I
radio
forgot
show.
about it, too.
It's
Yeah,
a very Bays Malbus type of thing to say.
They all die.
They all
Yeah.
die.
Him dead. I dead. What he do after I die? Crazy.
but yeah, I have to imagine that was the scene they shot that made him go, "Oh yeah, I worked with Forrest Whitaker recently," or at least maybe we'll get more scenes like that coming up.
Do you think we'll get more Saw Gerrera? I'm curious.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think that might be it.
Well,
No.
maybe in future season. Or,
Yeah,
that's
maybe-
true because it's a 2-season arc, right?
yeah.
I think we get more Saw this season.
It's
maybe
fair.
at the very end of the season. I mean, we've got to.
I think him and Cassio. I think
Casio.
Him and who?
I don't know. Is
got
there
a Casio.
is there a Luis Castillo on the Phillies? Maybe that I'm on the
Maybe.
side here. I don't know. Cassian. I
Mhm.
think they're going to meet up this season. I really do.
Cassian Andor. Well, but he didn't know him.
No, because they didn't meet until Rogue One for the first
He
time.
didn't
I
know
don't-
him, did he? I
I,
don't think so.
I don't think they knew each other.
Maybe that's right.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch Rogue One. I need to.
Yeah.
rewatch
Oh,
it.
yes, you
I
do.
don't
Yes.
think they knew each other. Yeah.
It's an amazing movie. Yeah, so I like the
Just
idea
made him
that
wrong.
Luthen is trying to unite them, but the dude is like, look, you've got this group, the separatists. He names
Mhm.
about 5 groups, and he's like,
Mhm.
we all have different goals, and we're not going to unite. You know, he's like,
It's
Well,
like
but
the
you
Israeli
unite-
government
Well, you can unite under
for some current political. No, sorry.
And like
that's not.
You can unite under overthrowing the empire and then fight afterwards. I mean, that's I
That's
think
true.
what Luthen is trying to get them to do.
That's
That's true. Yeah.
I think that scene was the best like political intrigue of this whole series
Yeah.
so far. With the whole
It was a
Saw
great
being
scene.
like, there's the separatists and the freedom fighters, and I'm the only one with the clear vision.
No
And Stellan with
Republicans
like,
with
he's like, anarchy isn't a real vision.
And this is obviously before. So, gosh, this has to be before Rebels, because in Rebels,
Mhm.
that's where he sustained that injury that causes him to have to use that breathing thing, because he was caught on that planet. Yeah, he was caught on the bug planet, or they were trying to
On
get.
Geonosis?
He was caught. Yeah, he was caught on Geonosis, and he got gassed. Remember
I
that?
didn't realize that.
That was Rebels, right?
I do remember being on Geonosis and the crew being there.
Yeah,
And in the tunnels or whatever.
I thought he was.
and
he
that's how
old?
he sustained. Like that's why he has to have that breathing apparatus,
I
because
don't
he got
think that happened
gassed.
in Rebels.
Was that
He was
Clone Wars?
definitely on Geonosis. No, I don't think it was either of them. Was that a
I thought
comic?
he was young and
No. This was
No.
an animated
I
thing.
don't
that
read
saw.
comics.
Yeah, this
for
was.
Star Wars.
I want to say this was an escape. So they were trying to. There was
So
a reason
the Empire comes to Geonosis, and Hera brings the ghost down the chute.
Yes.
Yes, that's that episode, because the Empire wanted
I don't
to
remember Saw being
destroy
involved.
all of Geonosis. They wanted to get rid of the population, so they were gassing all of them. They were gassing all the Geonosians. Maybe
Yeah,
this
but I
was a
think
book.
that.
Oh crap!
Yeah, I think this is a book.
No,
because
that's an episode. That Geonosin thing is an
Maybe
episode.
yes, it is an episode,
I
but
don't
they
know about
talk about.
Saw.
Yeah,
don't-
see,
thought
in the
Saw
episode
did that.
they talk about
Where's
there's
Fetmatic,
like
dang it?
no life forms left here, and they find like the one Geonosian, like that's the only one they ever run into.
Yeah,
And he's got the egg.
Yeah.
and he's trying to get lower and lower.
Saw's in that episode.
Saw's in that episode, but like I don't remember.
He gets gassed in that
'Cause
episode.
Does he? Man, I don't remember that because
Yeah.
what I remember is
He escapes,
he's
but
trying
not
to kill
before
the
he gets
Geonosian,
gassed.
and I think he's trying to take the Geonosian with them on the Ghost.
Yeah, so technically, that timeline wise, that's why we're seeing him here, and he's fresh. He's like he doesn't
Yeah.
have any breathing problems. He's all good.
Dude, he's so fresh.
Well, I mean, and yeah, and then that Rebels episode, we see him get gassed, and then Rogue One, happens, and we see him using the breathing apparatus and being all
Michael
crazy.
is the
being all
Star
crazy.
Wars. Okay, I like
I'm
it.
just saying.
Maybe
Fatmatic
so.
would have to confirm, but I think
Yeah.
that's all that as
I'm
far as
gonna
timeline.
have to rewatch this.
I'm gonna have to rewatch all of Rebels now.
I'm gonna rewatch this episode. I know exactly.
I'd watch Saw's List.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
okay.
Saw's gonna be like, I didn't do enough.
Yeah, exactly.
One
Yeah.
more.
All right. So, gosh,
How did
we
this
went
episode
48
end?
minutes on this. Oh my gosh. How did it end?
Did it end like with the guy?
It just
frying
ended the
himself?
guy getting shocked in the prison, basically.
Yeah,
He committed suicide.
No, we established that was not him committing suicide.
He
What?
did.
Oh,
Really?
I thought it was an accident. I thought he was just sleepwalking, and
Okay, whoa. It doesn't matter whether or not it was an accident or suicide. He's dead. Let's just say that.
yeah, he is dead. Yeah, I didn't
They
think
We'll
found
go
a
with that.
smell in his body, and
I didn't think he was committing suicide though.
I thought he was, but
Oh,
That's what some people are saying, but
I thought he was just sleepwalking.
they were saying, "Man, it's really dark for Disney to have a."
Well,
suicide.
see, that's why I don't think that's what
Mikey
that
had
was.
suicide.
Really? That's dark.
I'm pretty confident it's suicide.
Dang.
My initial reaction was sleepwalking because
That's what I thought.
sleepwalking, but it does almost makes more
I'll have
sense
to-
that it's a Sui.
Oh, they just got a lot of news that nobody of the outside world knows about all this stuff, and so all this stuff is lies, and none of this stuff is really happening. I really think that was a dark moment for one of those guys who just went, okay, well then
I'm just he has no hope. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'm in.
You have to have.
That's how I read the. Don't
All right,
I'm not gospel here, so
I hate to do this, but
let's get to the next.
We're gonna have to go quick. I can't stay much longer.
What?
Oh,
I know. I have to end the episode sooner than I thought. I just got an interesting text message, so we have got to talk about Tales of the Jedi quicker than I wanted to, because I do want to honor the show, because I think it was really good.
What do we have next week?
What do you mean?
Is it just Andor next week?
It's just Andor.
Black Panther. No, yeah, it's just.
I mean,
Andor.
look, these things.
What if we split it up? What if we just talk about the Ahsoka stuff?
These things were. I've got like 20 minutes. It's not like I have to leave right this second.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think Tales of the Jedi deserves an hour. I mean, it's good, but it's
Mikey.
not.
Jeez,
Mikey.
Oh my gosh, you guys took that many notes for this? I mean, it was good, but it's not.
This is their Star Wars.
This is way better than Andor.
Okay, you got.
Oh my gosh.
How do you? Okay, let's do it like this. Let's talk about it arc by arc. Let's talk about the Dooku episodes and then the Ahsoka episodes. So let's start with the Dooku stuff.
Okay.
I thought the Dooku stuff when he was younger was less interesting. I really liked the Yaddle episode.
I thought the Yaddle episode was good, but I kind of wanted to see more uncorrupted, less corrupted Dooku, honestly.
What they were showing was the seeds of it.
Yeah, they were telling a story over 3 episodes, really, of the fall of Dooku into the dark side. Yeah,
right. So the first episode was him. He was younger.
Him and Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, the Padawan.
He's already showing some darkness.
Yeah,
and he's showing those doubts of the system. And being like,
correct.
Yes.
That's the first. That's the first thing that kind of happens. Yeah,
the Republic or the Senate.
And he thinks and we're gonna find he's gonna think the Jedi are just too.
They're too by the book.
Dogmatic.
They're too by the book, by law.
Too codified. Too.
Mm.
And I
they
love
just follow what the Senate passes.
Jumping to the second episode with Dooku choices, I think the juxtaposition between Mace and Dooku is perfect because Mace
is by the book. Yeah,
he's completely by the book, never doubting authority, and he ends up failing in his overall mission. Right. The other is a rogue who doubts all authority and rules and lets his emotions make his decisions. Like that's where we're the road that he's going down, and he also fails.
Yeah,
I just think that's a good.
That is good.
They both are just on the opposite sides,
but they both still fail.
Yes, and they both neither one of them.
There's no nuance to either of their either of the way that they're doing things.
Yeah, that was a unique I thought both those episodes were interesting because they both had moral dilemmas and the corrupt governor, was he a governor? And then the
senator,
and then the kidnapped son. And the son's like, I can't believe that my dad's letting people live like this, And man, when Dooku goes,
that killed the Jedi,
when he turns and does the chokehold, and he shoots Qui-Gon, I thought, oh crap, Dooku.
Yes, and I gotta say,
I like these. These were my 3 favorite of this.
Well, you're not an Ahsoka guy though.
I didn't
fully. You're not full. You like the character, but you're not fully an Ahsoka guy.
I like the. Well, let me say this. I like the character, but I think Filoni is a little overly obsessed with Ahsoka. Like that first episode was like the birth of the Holy Child. Here is it's Ahsoka. I mean, I expected 3 wise men to show up, and I thought that was kind of a boring episode. Really.
In terms of episodes, I thought that was the worst one, and not it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like I didn't really need this one. It wasn't even useful for the later Ahsoka stuff.
It was extremely showing Ahsoka death and explaining death to Ahsoka.
Yes, I love that the mom is the hunter-gatherer and the dad.
It was extremely unsurprising that the Torgarutas pretty much live as samurais.
It was
that's the least surprising thing Filoni's ever done.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I don't know.
Which I loved. The whole village just looked like feudal.
And real quick, I gotta say that this animation, I thought,
it's solid.
I thought Clone Wars season 7, it couldn't get better than that. But I think they with certain stuff in this, they got better than that
whole opening shot of the mountains and the trees.
Dude,
was awesome.
So good.
I was like, holy crap.
It's all the same base. It's all the same animation. They've just clearly continued to work
they-
on it like they
Mhm.
did.
Yeah,
with
they're
the Clone Wars.
improving it,
Yeah.
improving it. Like the
Yeah.
dandelion little wisps floating around. That was really
Mhm.
awesome. Anyway,
The saber.
I'm sorry. We jumped. I'm sorry. We jumped to. I didn't mean to jump to
that
this,
was
so
your bad.
that's my bad.
So yeah, with
Back to what I
Dooku,
said. Dooku.
I think the Jedi would have succeeded if they just put everybody that had like a super big ego on the council. Put Dooku on, put Anakin on, and they're probably fine.
No.
That's an interesting take.
The issues would have popped up a little later.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just expand the council.
Now, I
council.
think Dooku was kind of butthurt that he was not asked to be on the council,
Mhm.
and
Very.
that
at the
Mace
very
was,
end of that episode, right? Number
Mhm.
2.
it was
choices.
very end of episode
Yeah,
2.
and Mace is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was not happy about that. I don't
And
think. And
Mace is so just, he has no tact.
no, he doesn't.
He's just, oh, well, I
And
had
that's-
no idea, but I followed the instructions properly.
yeah, that's
Maybe
kind
if you
of
would
why
do that as well, you would also make the, just
I
like
hope
Obi-Wan.
they never bring that character back in any. I mean, like
Mace.
live action. It's just an uninteresting character. I mean,
It
to
is.
me,
And if they were to bring him back, like post Return of the Jedi, say,
yeah,
it would not be the same character, just like Boba Fett was not really
have
the same
fake
character
legs.
that people expected. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, don't do that. Look, I know he's like sort of a by the book guy, but
He
I
is.
feel like this was almost too much of him by the book compared.
I don't
to
think
Yeah,
it's any different than the
I don't
stuff
think
in Revenge of the Sith.
I think
Yeah,
he's
I
right in
don't think
Revenge
so.
of the Sith.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
may be, but I still he's still doing the same stuff that he did in Revenge of the Sith as he did here, where
I think, yeah.
I just thought he seemed more. Well, I don't know.
like again, no tact. He tells Anakin, stay here. I will go test it out, and if you are right, then I will believe you. Like I don't believe you, but so therefore you have to stay
Yeah,
here. If he were to
but, I
just say,
mean-
"Hey, stay here," if anything goes wrong, we'll call you. That's a much better approach to it. You know what I
But-
mean?
Roth, and I mean, in a lot of adult and child situations, which is kind of what that is. I mean, that's how a lot of adults react to news like that. I mean, if you tell someone that this person's the ultimate evil, they're going to go, okay, I'm going to trust but verify.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's not the trust but verify part. It's the then I will believe you, I think, which is the part that
Mhm.
Anakin has such the problem with.
Mhm.
And it's the Mace to Dooku, if you would have just followed rules, you could be here too. It's that kind of
Mhm.
condescending, demeaning.
Yeah,
If you don't talk
Played by the
down
book,
to people and you try to talk to them at like a same level as them, they take bad news, they take mistrust a lot easier.
Yeah, Brian. I mean, to Brian's point, I mean, there's certainly two sides to it. I mean,
The
I
Jedi
agree with
Order
that
was
too.
completely wrong,
Yes.
but I still
Well-
don't think. Yeah.
I like order, though. I mean,
That's not what I said.
I mean, there has to be some rules that you follow. I don't know. I mean, I think that
Get Nick on the phone here. Let's see what he says.
Well, it's
sorry. Yeah.
no, it's okay.
it's, it's the whole thing the Jedi fall into the trap of becoming a bureaucracy of becoming too big to fail type of
Hey,
deal, of becoming
yeah.
all knowing. They lose that doubt, which propels like a better society. Like if you're always doubting and never thinking like you know what's right all the time, never thinking you know everything, you're better off as a human. You're better off as like a society.
Mhm.
And that's the
Wow.
I
trap that
think
the
they got
Jedi
pretty
Order fell
arrogant.
into.
I think they got pretty arrogant about their
Mhm.
standing too.
Oh, sure. No, they definitely did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, they were like, at least at that time before, well, and I mean, they were told that they were to protect all these planets. Like they were given all these responsibilities that they weren't in their past really like. I mean, they weren't supposed to be warmonger, or they weren't supposed to be part of wars and stuff. I mean,
Well-
they were just supposed to be peace.
Well, they were space policemen, right?
Yeah, and like
No,
I think that's more so. It was like the
I don't
space
know.
policeman, space like samurai
Space
type of thing
samurai,
where they're there
They're
to
peacekeepers.
they're the
Peacekeepers.
peacekeepers, and Where
don't even
things
think
really go
that-
wrong
I
is
don't
when they're
know.
put in charge of the armies and they're put as generals
Yeah,
instead
generals. Yeah,
the
General
peacekeeper.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that they, at their heart, though, never really wanted to be like the peacekeepers. Though I think they just like wanted to be one with the Force and just do their thing, and
Is
never
it-
really.
Maybe peacekeepers isn't the right word, but maybe their attachment to the Force and their knowing of, they have an easier understanding of what's right or wrong.
Yeah,
And so
that's right.
maybe they're more so akin to like a court in and of themselves. And like, they're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, this is right and this is wrong.
Okay, so here's what I equate it to. Like in my mind, when I'm thinking Jedi, like what they really want to be is monks. They just want to be off doing their own thing and just like studying and getting stronger in the Force and closer to being one with the Force and not really being bothered by all the galactic stuff. They were kind of pushed into that peacekeeper role, in my opinion. I don't think they ever like wanted to be the galaxy's peacekeepers. They wanted to be like more like the monks, and they wanted to be
Maybe
you know,
so.
more like that. Like they wanted to be at their temple, they wanted to be training, just be, that's kind of like what my whole thought process is with the Jedi from what they really wanted to be doing. This whole like galactic civil war and everything kind of pushed them into the more of the peacekeeping role, and whatever's going on with the High Republic, which I
just like fun lightsaber fights, guys.
Yeah, well, that's what
yeah.
I was actually going to bring up was the lightsaber. That's the only pushback I'd have on that, because like I would agree with like how they're dressed and how they talk about the Force, but the lightsaber is like the weapon of the Jedi. We get some of that stuff in Rebels where they have to connect with this kyber crystal on like a Force level, and so therefore there has to be some part of them that is for keeping the peace and bringing like some justice.
And they're
look at this. This is good right here. Game of Thrones, this Sept of Seven, they became puppets
interesting.
of the crown.
Well, a little game, a little GOT going on there.
At least, I think from a lightsaber standpoint, it's their weapon of choice. You have to have something to defend yourself no matter what in a situation like
it's a more
Star Wars
elegant
galaxy.
weapon.
And
less crude than a blaster.
Yeah, it's a good weapon for them to have. It's not a blaster like you say. And I don't think killing people is out of the question as long as again they're provoked into that kind of thing. But,
Sure. Which we saw some of that in the third episode of the Dooku arc.
Yes.
Where Yaddle, a lot of Yaddle.
Here we go.
Second episode.
So Qui-Gon comes back.
Wait,
right?
that was the second episode?
When Mace kills the dude.
No, we're talking about Yaddle.
Yeah.
But
you were talking about Yaddle, Michael?
Yaddle.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yaddle.
Yes.
But yeah, talking about the mix. Yeah.
The third episode takes place during Phantom Menace, clearly.
Yes.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Mention of a Sith being seen on Tatooine. And
we see him delete Camino. That was awesome.
That was
the story
awesome.
I want most told is the Sifo Dyas story because it's so intriguing, and we get some of that here, which was awesome.
That was so cool.
And Jocasta Nu sucks.
Yeah, she's naive. She's just like whatever.
Oh, if it's not in our archive, then it does not exist.
She's my hero.
It got deleted right under your nose, Jocasta.
Got deleted right under her nose.
Bam.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
What an awful librarian. I'm just kidding.
Librarian.
She let something be deleted.
Yeah.
Dude, he was. And we get one scene with Qui-Gon, who's just come back from
Tatooine.
And
that's right, Tatooine. They fought
I think that's right after the council meeting with telling him about Darth Maul and saying, "Hey, Anakin," or it's probably right before the they bring Anakin in because they kind of bring Anakin at night.
And then there's a jump cut, and he's dead.
Yeah. I didn't realize that Dooku was still alive as a Jedi during Phantom Menace. Sorry, as a Jedi, not alive.
Yeah, I never knew exactly where that timeline fell either. And I like this.
That seemed a little.
I like that Qui-Gon's death is what radicalizes him.
I think that
well, I guess it's not. But.
I think that he was allowed to just come back around because nobody knew all the crazy stuff he was doing as a separatist or whatever.
That's fair.
So I think that he was still allowed to just. That's why he was being kind of like sneaky and stuff. And I mean, I just don't think that.
So he was still considered a Jedi.
He was still considered in their minds to be part of the Jedi Order. They didn't know of his betrayal.
Does he know about Maul?
Yes, because I think
before Maul shows up and
Oh,
kills
I don't know.
Qui-Gon.
I don't know. He definitely knows about him afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because wasn't there a particular line that he said to Sidious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he says
that's
you've
what I'm
gone
saying.
too far. This
That's-
was a
You've
step
gone too far.
Yeah, but previously, I don't know that he knew.
Like,
about
was the step too far bringing the Sith into it in his mind? Did he know that Sidious was a Sith?
Oh yeah, no. He knows that. No. He fully knows that Sidious is a Sith, and in fact, in Dooku's mind, he was his number 2. He didn't know. I don't think he knew about Maul fully until.
Yeah,
See,
that's
and
what we're
that's
asking you.
Yeah.
and that's where I
Like
'cause I
Sidious
could
had
go
probably
either way
promised.
where
Dooku this spot.
like I could see it where he's like, "Hey, Dooku, I agree with you that the rest of the Jedi don't get it. Let's try to separate and like become like the separatists that they are." But he doesn't reveal the Sith Lord thing until he finds out about Maul, and Maul is killed, and he says, "Okay, you're now my number 2," and makes him. And because in my mind, right after we break away, we get the Vader Palpatine scene from Revenge of the Sith, where he's like, "Rise, Lord Dooku," or Tyrannus.
Tyrannus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we don't get that scene in here, so that's
You're right.
kind of how I read it, but I could be wrong.
Okay, no. I'm tracking with you now. Okay, I think you're probably correct. Yeah, because even when he was fighting Yaddle, he was a bit hesitant, and Sidious had to kind of like push him to go all the way.
Sidious never pulls out a lightsaber. He never really moves. It's just
he just cackles.
Yeah.
He just cackles in the background. That's all he's doing.
Oh, the cackling.
Oh, the cackling. The maniacal laugh.
What did we think about Bryce
Salacious
Dallas
ground.
Howard's normal syntax?
Well,
I mean, it was fine. I didn't even know that was her, actually. So
what he's referring to is the fact that Yaddle can speak normally and
I
doesn't
know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's because of the female brain, because there's more synapses there.
What?
Just like She-Hulk can control the rage, the corpus callosum, the testosterone knows some of the synaptic connections. Yes, guys.
I kind of wished that the Yoda line had, that species had the same speech patterns. Look, your speech patterns are based on the people that raise you, really. I mean, that's
true.
just
and that's what
normal.
I don't know if you saw that
stuff.
What Filoni said.
So if
is that what he said? Okay.
Grogu is raised by Mando, I'd expect him to speak like Mando. Galactic
be
basic,
like
normal.
Because Filoni asked himself the same question, right? And so did Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, should Yaddle talk like Yoda? And they went back and found some stuff about Frank Oz talking about why Yoda talks that way. And Frank Oz said, I don't know, I just kind of pictured it that way. And in my mind, he learned to talk that way, like that, from his master, from Yoda's master. And so that's why Yoda talked that way. In my head growing up, I always thought Yoda talked that way just because he was so smart that like other stuff just like got lost. And he's like, it doesn't matter how I talk. I like just have so much going on up here. And
how smart are you?
Such a connection to the Force. That's how I took it growing up.
I like it being a regional dialect of some sort. I mean, some part of the universe needs to be speaking like that. Really, you need to establish that at some point as like a little gag or a.
Yeah, now they almost have to, since they had Yaddle speak normal. They almost have to do something.
I think the real reason they had Yaddle speak normal is so they don't have to have Grogu speak all weird.
Well, again, Grogu is raised by a Mandalorian who's a human being speaking Galactic Basic. I would expect him to speak very similarly.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. All right.
Now, when does he speak? Who knows? We'll get.
Yeah. Who knows? So
Yaddle, year-old baby.
Yaddle holds her own, but ultimately does not make it. Now, I will say I liked the opening of the door. I've got to. Unfortunately, I got to because we got to jump to Ahsoka. But I thought she held her own. I thought she was cool. I thought they honored the character more than they.
She lifted that thing up.
She lifted that thing up.
I thought she got crushed. I really did. I was like,
I was like, wow.
I was like, dang, that's hardcore. But unfortunately,
I don't know how she didn't get crushed.
She died even worse, really. I mean,
she's small. She kind of did a.
She just bent around it.
She's apparently no Reva because she could not survive a lightsaber in the stomach.
That we know of.
This is true. Maybe her hate for
Dooku and Palpatine follow the normal Sith patterns, I'll just walk away.
Yeah. All right, so we already talked about Ahsoka's baby episode. I mean, there's not much going on there.
It's a Grogu.
We see her. The most significant part of that episode, obviously, is that she can commune with animals and blah blah blah. I mean, that's why a convor is kind of her
force sensitive.
Well, and she's force sensitive. Yeah, I mean,
I thought that.
Not that I love establishing that as a fresh baby, but
fresh baby.
I mean, she's a year
She was
old.
over a year old.
She was a year old.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
I want a midichlorian count on that.
yeah, exactly.
How many midichlorians could you?
Filoni for me.
Then we get some Herb Brooks vibes from
Herb
Anakin
Brooks.
in the second episode. Again.
Oh
Again.
yeah, again.
Oh, was that the second one or the third one?
The second one.
That was the second one. Yeah, where Anakin is laying into her pretty hard.
Again, I know. I was like, "What the heck, dude? They're shooting stun guns at a kid."
Total miracle.
So, the only reason they did that episode was to show that she could survive a stun in season 7 of the Clone Wars. Is that right? I mean, is that what I'm gathering?
I don't know if I bought.
No, I mean that's not the only reason. I don't think. I think it was more so just
like
how
he's training her to be
not
the best.
and I'm sorry, not survive, but like recover quicker. Like because
maybe
that's what I'm saying. Like she recovered pretty quick from when she got stunned in season 7.
I guess maybe, but
I never really cared.
Yeah, I'm like whatever.
I think the main part of that was to show Anakin's differing view on how to train people than the Jedi.
Yeah, because he was doing that in secret.
That was a bit.
Yes.
It was a bit much.
Yeah, he was doing it. Yeah, he was. Well, he was doing it outside of the temple training. He like took her to a place where there was a bunch of clone troopers.
He's shooting a stun gun at a child. What?
Yeah,
she's not a child.
All right, get up. Let's do it again.
14?
Run it again. Come on.
Again.
Run it again. Yeah.
She's 14.
You're awake. Let's go.
She's like she needs to be in like concussion protocols because she's
she's gonna get the 2 arms.
If Mike Leach was a Jedi, this is how he would basically. Remember Mike Leach? He put the kid in the. Never mind.
Was that Mike Leach? Oh,
yeah,
it was
when he was at Texas Tech.
No, at Baylor.
Oh,
Baylor.
What did he do? He stuck him in the.
No, he never coached at Baylor.
He didn't coach at Baylor.
It was Texas.
He didn't.
It was Texas Tech.
I thought
think it
Baylor
was
got
Tech,
in trouble with that.
and
Yeah, I think they all got in trouble with that. Yeah.
What did he do?
Mike Leach is insane. He had a player in like one of the outhouses or something, or what do they call it? The
I don't know.
Like the equipment.
The equipment room. Yeah, the equipment shed. Yeah. It was as like a punishment though. Like he left.
You stay in there till you die.
Yeah,
it's like radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the flash forward flashback to where she fights the troopers with Rex.
Yeah,
and I liked the she'd pass out and then we were at like a different moment, and then she'd pass out and then we're at the end where
and clearly there's a lot of different training going on in those moments. Yeah,
and it's fun. I mean, it was an okay episode. It was. I mean,
it was whatever. It was fine.
The third episode was the one that everybody's got uproar about. Apparently,
I love it. This is right out of
Dave
the Ahsoka
Filoni
book,
is
right?
changing canon.
How
dare he change canon from the outline he gave that author to write the book for?
Yeah, exactly.
So she was at the funeral of
Padme. That was awesome. I was hyped to see that opening. That was like,
that was
crap, we're doing this. This is awesome.
Pretty cool, actually. I did like that. And so that's where she got the.
I was just like, this isn't Andor.
That's kind of obviously not the first time her and Bale interacted, but he gave her that thing. Whenever you need me, call me. And she was hesitant, but
call me, beat me.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
I love it. I loved it. It was good.
It was great.
And then
this was a good episode.
And so that planet that she was on, if you haven't read the Ahsoka book, most, if not all of the Ahsoka book took place on that planet. And she was like a farmer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then
I listened to this book. This is one of the few Star Wars books.
It's been so long since I have listened to that book. Did an Inquisitor show up in that book as well?
Yes, and the kind of ending of that book with the Inquisitor stuff was she took the Kyber crystals from the Inquisitor, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't really care for about the Inquisitors would make the Kyber crystals bleed, and that's why they were red. And then when she got a hold of them,
Kyber.
they turned white because she's neither Jedi nor Sith.
She's Ahsoka the White.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we can retcon that. It's okay. We can come up with a better idea.
I don't care for the whole Kyber crystal red bleed, whatever crap. I don't care
know
about
that they've done that in. Well, I mean, that book is supposedly canon, but I don't think they've done that in a live action or animated canon.
This is clearly not Dave canon.
Well, no, that's his whole deal. I think the whole bleeding. That's his.
Is it?
It may be.
Well, I'm saying clearly the book is not wholly Dave canon because
there's a lot of things that apparently are not when it comes to the written word,
which is
the
just
word is not always.
Yeah.
Again, I think this is paving some way for Mando, because what did we hear about Mando when it was first, before it even came out? This was going to set up some stuff for episode 7.
Yes.
And we had 3 crappy books that set up stuff for episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just pretend those books never existed and redo that.
Well,
stuff.
I mean, not set up like the events of episode 7, but like lead up to I don't know. I mean,
look, anytime you're in print and you're not a show or a movie, you run the risk of your stuff being retconned.
You run the risk of, and to be fair,
I know that Disney
Disney
wanted everything to be canon and everything was always going to be canon. But look, it's the same as if George came back and the EU was still around. He would have just wiped the slate clean then too, if he wanted to do other projects. Yeah. You don't let other things get in the way of stuff that people really haven't read or seen. The amount of people reading those books,
protect the canon at all
reading
costs.
those comics and books is a very low number of Star Wars fans in the first place. So,
and I will say that the way that she dispatched that Inquisitor was pretty bad. I mean, she just like grabbed his lightsaber. That was. She's awesome.
David.
David's no, that's a couple up.
No, we got the She-Hulk symbol coming soon, right? I hope.
Yeah. We do.
Probably soon.
Is it this
week?
week?
No.
There's another one of
Werewolf
those that
by
I'll
Night
be watching.
is coming, I think, this week. But
okay.
Right. Well, see, yes, Fett. But what we're kind of saying is, I don't know that that's ever going to happen in a live action or animated.
They may show it eventually.
I mean,
yeah.
We must not be beholden to the things in written print.
Look, I think it's a great idea to do transmedia, as they call it, storytelling. But
wait, what? Yeah. Trans what?
Transmedia storytelling.
Oh, sorry. Okay, confused. I didn't know what we were talking about.
It is a confusing time, Dr. Earl. I agree.
But that's the term for it.
It is. You're right. You're right. Correct.
I think it's a cool idea, but at the end of the day, you're going to run into roadblocks, and if you're going to get rid of something, you get rid of something that's written over something that's visually shot that more people have watched.
Agree.
And that you could. The thing you can do is you could try to. The thing that you could do is you could try to
don't put that.
Try to respect it and honor the thing that came before, but still take your ideas where you want to take them. And I'm talking about the guys like Dave,
Filoni or Dollar.
Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau. Those kind of guys I think should get the leeway for that. Maybe some smaller creators probably shouldn't. But
it's the intersectionality of these two genres. Sorry,
don't say that word.
No, I know.
I'm just kidding.
Come on, man. Anyways, the very cool last scene of that episode is Bail saying, "Are you ready to get back in the fight?" And she doesn't say anything, but has that look about her that she's.
So what is she going to do? Because we know she's not around.
She becomes Fulcrum.
At this point,
for
becomes Fulcrum for Rebels. Yeah,
Rebels.
So she really does get back into the fight.
Yeah, she does get back in the fight. Yeah, okay, that's true.
It's good stuff. Look,
it's been a while since I've seen.
If they do, I think that they should do more of that type of thing. These like little interstitials, almost like 15 minutes, 15-minute episodes. There's other characters that they are probably going to choose next time. I mean, obviously they're not going to. They're not going to. They're not going to continue to do like Dooku and Ahsoka every time.
Although Jade.
Although, I mean, this is Filoni's pet project. He kind of is obsessed.
No, it will probably be Ahsoka and somebody else every time.
Yeah, it'll always be Ahsoka and someone else. Yeah.
Or if it's somebody else, we'll have a guest role.
So, anyways,
this is my favorite stuff since Mando season 2.
Really?
Let me think about that.
Your favorite Star Wars thing is this Mando season 2?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
You know, in between then I've watched Clone Wars and Rebels, and so it's hard for me to dissociate that from not being afterwards.
I like
thought
those
the
2
ending-
episodes in Book of Boba Fett. I thought they were
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that's gonna be my answer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really count those because I count those as Mando season 3.
Well,
But
since these are cartoons, I'll put them in a different genre.
No.
Oh,
animated.
They're animated
Earl.
series.
Animated series.
They're short animated
Ooh.
series.
Oh, Dave's making a good point. The Summer Vacation Lego was.
I have not watched that yet. I'm going to.
That was not.
No.
It's a fun time.
This stuff.
Was it as good as the Christmas one?
No. I think the Halloween
no.
one was the best so far.
I don't think I
the
watched that one
Halloween
either.
was
I need
good. Those are canon adjacent, though. Those are not. Well, Sean, out of nowhere.
Click on that channel if you want to see some great videos.
Do you like the yes, do click on that channel for some great videos.
I'm looking for
Sean, do you like the color green?
Yes.
Because if you do, I've got a show for you.
Sharp A, man.
That's right. All right. So we'll be
strange-
back next week, obviously, to talk about Andor episode 9.
Mm.
And then in 2 weeks,
Oh man, Andor.
Andor and Yellowstone.
That's the best
Boom.
Star Wars since.
Just Andor. Yeah.
What about Wakanda Forever?
Oh yeah,
Isn't
when
that
is
2
that?
weeks? from now?
Yeah, Wakanda. Wakanda.
Wakanda
That is 2 weeks
Forever.
from now.
I hope to see it before then, before Tuesday.
I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe
I am
we'll.
going to be out of town, so I hope to see it before Tuesday. I don't know when or how, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I do of course want to talk about that. I hope I can see it before we record that Tuesday, though.
See
Luckily, we're not missing a week of this. I will be out of town all around this. So next Tuesday we meet, and then the Tuesday after we meet. So
there is no stopping the
You're gonna have to
Deucecast
go
no-
to the 15th, Mikey, to go see it, and then come straight here.
Yeah, I might like get off
Get
work
off the plane.
early on Tuesday, go see it, but it's 2 hours and 41 minutes.
1 minute, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I will say, to be fair, and awarding to the extra audience, there is just a mid credit. There's no
This is
post
true.
credit. So
This
if
is
you
true.
want to leave at that
you
point,
can
Look,
leave it
Dave,
the last 20 minutes.
Dave, you are
unless
not
they
wrong.
change that.
Dave is not wrong. I'm missing Deucecast episodes, but I'm not missing extra episodes. Dave is not wrong.
That's why he's having to go now to answer the call. No.
Dave is not wrong at all. Okay, so Ryfin, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at GRyfin3, GRYFUN3. Instagram as well. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfin. You can find me on the Deucecast Discord. You can find me here on the Deucecast Extra, and maybe in the future on the Deucecast. Maybe.
Whoa.
A lot.
Whoa, a little
Yeah,
tease.
a lot.
A little tease.
A little tease. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, am I being replaced? Is that what that means?
No. Well,
Or
the next
recast. Replaced or recast, Earl? That's the question you have to
Oh,
ask.
maybe
Exactly.
being recast.
we're
Yeah,
turning you
yeah.
in for a younger model. Isn't that what happens?
It might be. Yeah, that's what happens. Well, thanks for your service, Earl. Good luck.
We're putting you out to pasture.
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
Roth,
Enjoy
where can
your-
people find you on the interwebs and tell us about the next episode of
Yes, the next episode of the
Yeah.
Good Day for a Movie podcast, available on all your podcast platforms.
I'm ready.
Sean Connery, Kevin Costner,
Yes,
De Niro. Is that the one that's in it?
Yeah,
Haven't
yeah.
watched it yet. The
Yeah.
Untouchables
Yes.
Whoa,
is our
man,
next
what a great
episode.
Mm.
right.
You can
Oh.
also maybe hear me on a couple Deucecast
Yeah,
extras
like
or
2 in a
Deucecast
row.
episodes coming up in the future as well.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got tomorrow night. Or tomorrow morning. I'm sorry. We have got another tournament episode, and we have to call in Roth for some help.
They had to
We
make a call
had to-
to the cleanup.
What a
feature.
mistake.
Yeah, we had Garrison on. I mean, it always
on a
happens
very special Deucecast.
on a very special Deucecast.
Called the
exactly.
righty and the reliever.
Yeah, we called. You mean the cleanup?
Calling the lefty?
All right, Dr. Earl cannot be found anywhere on the interwebs
Don't
except
try.
the Deucecast Discord on occasion. I
Yes.
will say that
need
your
to go in there. It's
pretentious
been a while.
corner is getting some cobwebs. I've seen up on the
I
walls.
Well, it
know.
was spooky season.
I was doing spooky season. I was doing horror
That's true.
movies
That's
and
true.
stuff.
Those were decorations.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, I'm watching Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and I think that goes in the pretentious corner.
That's
to me.
very
Let's hear-
pretentious. Yes,
let's hear
that's
about it.
very pretentious.
Yeah. Once I
Um,
It
watch
is open
will-
to all. All can use it to
That's true.
discuss their brilliant
I'll
movies.
have to actually watch
Ernest.
Wild Strawberries one day.
Wild
Me too,
strawberries.
All right, Garrison, let's make a pinky
All
story.
right.
that will-
Yeah.
So appreciate the chat. It was fun. We had some Deucecast stalwarts in there with Dave hanging out and Sean hanging
Producer
out.
Sean.
Producer Sean
Mhm.
dropping in. That was fun. Fetmatic, as always, really appreciate it. Brian, Uncle Brian, if you will. Thank you for coming and hanging out as well.
Is he your
anybody else
uncle?
stop by? Well, he's Ashley's uncle. It's
Oh,
not my uncle, but
Well, fair enough.
he's my grunkle. I don't know what that means.
No, he's not.
That's great.
We'll be back next Tuesday to definitely talk about Andor episode 9. And there's nothing else. I think that's, unless some preview drops, and maybe we'll watch a preview or something, but I don't
The
know.
Avatar trailer is coming out tomorrow, guys.
No, we're not going to watch that. we're not going to talk about it. Yeah.
3 hours.
high
and 10
five,
minutes,
Sean.
baby. Yeah, high five. Yeah.
High five for Sean. So appreciate it, guys. And we will see you next week for sure. Have a great night, everybody.